Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of JD's Wildcat World. These are the episodes that I dread, to be honest with you. Not dread doing them, but dread talking about. You all know, I love podcasting, but there's really no other way to say this, but we pretty much got manhandled last night. South Carolina beats the Cats 79-62, and I didn't feel like the game was that close, to be honest with you. It was a very, I will say, confusing and shocking performance from the Cats. I'm not sure what happened. This is the first game of the year that I felt like that wasn't a fun game to watch. Even in our other losses, the games were fun to watch. You could say UNC Wilmington beating us at home wasn't, but we were still in that game and still scored over 70 points. This was I'll just say a shocker. I thought there was a possibility we could get beat. You all know I picked us to win. But I thought there was that possibility, but in no world did I think that we would get blew out. And it just looked like for most of the game we were lost, especially on offense, which was crazy to me because we did lead before this game, the nation in points per game, averaging over 91 a game. And to only drop 62 was very strange. I didn't think that it was possible that this team could score that the least amount of points that they did. I did not see a game where we would score under 70 this season. So I was very just perplexed and shocked watching this performance. But I will say, it is college basketball. Anybody can beat anybody, especially in the transfer portal era. And I'll just say it right now because, I didn't want to get on a tangent and get upset, but I'm going to because it's just how I am about Kentucky sports in general, but especially Kentucky basketball and especially this team because I love this team so much. They have brought back joy of watching games in my life. And and other people's too. Other people, we've talked about this on the pod this season. A lot of people that did not watch the Cats for a couple years are back watching every game. And I know this because they tell me they are. I've always been a fan, but the last couple years were just unwatchable. It was not fun. But this team has brought that back into Big Blue Nation. And I'm going to go on a little rant here. And I know this is not what some of you all are going to hear because some of you all that message me are listeners. But I can't stand our thought process on BBN's thought process on you win one game, you're winning the national championship, you lose one game, the season's over. That's not the case, folks. It's just not. The season is not over by any means. I saw a stat on Twitter. I don't think the number will be exactly right, but it was like half of Cal's Final Four teams, or half of Kentucky's Final Four teams, suffered a 15-point defeat in conference play. We lost by 17. And it's even different now. I think Kentucky is one of the most talented teams in the country. Now, am I going to go guarantee a national title? No. We have 8 in our program history. And that's another thing that I need, that I don't think we fully grasp, is how hard it is to win a national title. You see the most talented teams in the country very rarely win the title. And it's not just us that loses. 2015 you can bring up, should have won it. Yes, I understand that. But you see teams like, for example, Purdue last year loses in the first round to a 16 seed, and they were like the number one team for most of the season. Might have even been the number one overall seed. I'm not sure. I think they were. You look at, I'm trying to think of another dominant team that did not win at all. But, that's just 2 examples right there. Your most talented teams aren't going to win it all the time. Do I still think this team can win the title? Yes. My opinions from last night on this team have not changed just because of one game. And the response I got from that was, what about the other 3 losses? Well, A&M's on the road in conference play just like South Carolina. And we took them to overtime. They shot lights out. I mean, it is what it is. You could argue we couldn't defend. I understand that. But we were in that game. That was going to be a tough one to win. You go Kansas, neutral court, missing all 3 7-footers, first game of the year. We should have won that game, perhaps. Up 14 late, and, end up losing. But that's, folks, there was the number 1 team in the country, and we're a brand new team. I'm not mad with that loss either, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is, but it seems like people want to be so livid when we lose and then turn around and say we're winning a national title when we win. I just don't think that's the right mindset to have. Just be patient. Let's get through the regular season, and let's see what the Cats do in the SEC tournament and NCAA tournament. I got news for you. The postseason is not played on the road. It's neutral court. And my team, which is the Cats, I like them against anybody on a neutral floor. It's just how it is, to be honest with you. Especially in March, as this team continues to grow, I don't expect very many games for us to be as bad offensively as we were last night. I think this was a one-off. And until, if we were to go out and only put up 60 Saturday, then I think there's a cause for concern. I'll be honest with you. But that's the thing, the schedule don't get any easier. I thought, if you all know, after our loss to A&M, I thought we would win 5 straight. This was one of the games I thought we would win, end up pulling out. We lose it, and now we're on the verge of perhaps losing 2 in a row. I think you need to come out and handle Arkansas. College game day's coming in. It's on the road, another hard conference atmosphere. So we got to bounce back. And we have bounced back off losses. We have not lost 2 in a row all season, as the Cats now sit at 14-4 on the year. And my rant is pretty much just what I said. Be patient. Let's get through the conference season and see where we're at. I don't, there's many complaints about the coaching that I've seen mainly. I can't get on board with that just yet. I don't think that Cal did anything wrong last night. Nobody was particularly playing well, so he was plugging and playing lineups. Now, I will say, I do think that we should have had more consistent lineups. I think the lineup should have stayed the same for longer. That was one thing that I was kind of like, I couldn't understand the substitution patterns. But I think it all just comes back to he was trying to find the guys that were going to play the best. One thing I will touch on, is the Justin Edwards experience due to be over? I touched on this a little bit a couple episodes ago. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not throwing the team under the bus, not throwing the kid under the bus. But he plays 23 minutes last night and only gives you 2 points, both from the line. Only attempts 1 shot. Only gives you 2 rebounds. At some point, and, some will argue that point's already passed. We've got to get the best guys in the game. And we'll see that as time goes on. I don't know if Cal will change the starting lineup, but, now Reed and Rob come in even before the first media timeout. I've noticed that's changed. They starters play like the first 2 minutes, and then Reed and Rob check in. So that's something to look out for. Reed and Rob off the bench are usually potent. Last night, Rob came in firing, was red hot. He ended with 16 points on 7 of 14 shooting. But Reed didn't really give you much. For the first time this season, didn't really give you much. Missed a easy bunny under the goal. That was a shock to me. Just seemed like the whole team was off, to be honest with you. Big Z came in and only played 10 minutes, had 3 points. 2 boards, 1 of 3 shooting. I felt like he could have played a little bit longer, but he did have 3 fouls while he was in there. I felt like he at least gave you something on the defensive side where he could block shots. But, you look at this box score, and it's ugly, to be honest with you. 4-13 from 3. Only taking 13 threes is not this team at all. It's just not. The one complaint I do have about last night, and I think it's the number one thing that got us beat, other than, I think none of the team was really, I don't know. I can't explain I don't know what happened. It was just an all systems failure last night, but the number one thing that I think beat us was trying to play in the half court. I've said all year long, I feel like this team is the best when you are out in transition and running it down people's throats. And, no one can stop us in transition. That is, if a team can stop us in transition, I want to see that before, we try to play half-court ball. And last night you saw that, we can score in the half court, but we're not nowhere near as good in the half court as we are when we are out in transition. And I'll give props to South Carolina. They defended us super well. They wanted it more, it seemed like. They seemed like they wanted the game more. They were hitting shots that are crazy out of their mind, just like I said they would last week. Any team that plays Kentucky, especially on their home floor, is going to shoot crazy shots and they go in. That summed it all up last night when the game was over and there's a minute left and a guy chucks it up from the logo and swishes it with a guy on his face. That was the kind of night last night was. I think South Carolina is better than some people think. Should they have beat us by 17? No. No, they shouldn't have. But I think they are better than they get credit for. If they win on Saturday, they will probably be ranked, I would say. They did this with their best 2 players combining for 22 points. So, if you would have told me B.J. Mack and Meechie Johnson combined for 22, I would have thought we won this game by 15 plus. But it did not happen. For whatever reason, we just could not get out of the funk. The first half wasn't too bad. We just couldn't score, but we were at least stopping them. The second half, we gave up 46 points, and that's just not winning basketball. The defense is definitely going to have to get better, and we all know that. There's no need in crushing anybody for it, but it's a fact. It is going to have to get better. In the first half, I thought we defended somewhat well, and then the second half kind of, disappeared there. But like I said earlier in the episode, last night's game does not change my opinion. I might be in the minority there based on the amount of negative messages I've received. That's one thing, if I could change about this fan base, is what I said. Let's just chill. Like, there's no need in overreacting to a big win. There's no need in overreacting to a loss. Let's take it a game at a time and see what happens. And that leads me into Saturday, where the Cats take on a struggling Arkansas team. Arkansas is 1-4 in the SEC. They play Ole Miss tonight. Could potentially lose that and come into the game 1-5. Now, this is a type of game that you should win if you're the Cats, but it would be very easy for me to see Arkansas coming out and doing exactly what South Carolina did. Now there's a blueprint on how you beat the Cats. Does Arkansas follow that? We'll see. Arkansas beat Duke at the beginning of the year at home. That's concerning. I think we're better than Duke, but that's a big-time team coming in there. They had it sold out. They had it rocking, and Arkansas beat them. So, we'll see. It's going to be a crazy crowd. Like I said, College Game Day will be there. The game is at 6 o'clock on ESPN on Saturday. And, we're going to have to come out and, we're going to have to bury them early, not let them hang around, or if they hang around, how it is. They will hit shots that are just crazy. We're going to have to get down, defend, score the ball a lot better, which I think we will score the ball. I think that's one thing we will do Saturday. I think we'll get back to being ourselves. And I think, we have to stop their guards. Trayvon Mark is an exceptional player. I watched him, I think it was against Texas A&M, and he absolutely destroyed them. I think he had like 35 points, and he's a scorer. He's averaging 18 a game. I expect that to honestly go up by the end of the year because he's their main guy. He's the guy that if he goes off, we're in trouble. To be honest with you, they got Trayvon Brazile back. He was injured last year for most of the year. He's only averaging 9.2 points a game, but he's averaging 7 boards a game. Someone's going to have to put a body on him because he will rebound the ball very efficiently. That's going to be Aaron Bradshaw, Big Z, Trey Mitchell's responsibility. We've got to rebound against these guys because if we don't and they lead to second chances, that's when we would potentially be in trouble for them to pull the upset. Devontae Davis is still on the team. He lit us up last year. And if you all remember correctly, the last game of the season, we did win at Arkansas. Can these Cats do it for a second year in a row? We'll see. Devontae Davis averaging 6.7 points a game. He will go off. That's my prediction, that he will light us up. He will go for at least 10 to 15 points. They're hearing that here first. Only averaging 7 a game. It never fails, folks. You all know. It never fails. But, FBI, ESPN predictor has us at 67% to win the game. I like that number. And I'm looking now at our points per game. We went from over 91 to 89.9 in one game. So, Arkansas is averaging 77 a game and giving up 77. So, I think we should be able to score on them. That's the one thing I look at in this matchup, watching Arkansas tape as well. They don't defend that well. And I think we can exploit that. We need a bounce-back game against Arkansas. And, it'll be a tough one. I'm not sugarcoating this. I don't want to pick us to lose. And I'm not going to. Just because the fact that I think Arkansas does not have the firepower to keep up with us like Texas A&M did and South Carolina did. Their main guy, if we can shut Mark down, I like our chances a lot. But I'll take the Cats to get a bounce-back victory by a score of 94 to 86. I think Arkansas hangs around. I think we kind of pull away late. But, they will be rocking, and we got to get back to being us. We got to leave this South Carolina game in the rear view and get back to playing Kentucky basketball, this team's basketball. And I think we will do that. In honor of him absolutely tearing Arkansas up at home last year, he went for 37 points. I'm picking Antonio Reeves to be my MVP and have another huge game. Seems like he really loved that arena, shooting in it. And, he had a sort of off night last night. And I like Antonio Reeves to – I don't know if he'll repeat his performance because he was deadly. He was hitting everything last year against them. I don't think he quite does that, but I like Reeves to have a very solid game in the Cats to bounce back and move to 15-4 on the year. I want to take a minute after, since I've got the game recapped and the Arkansas game previewed. I know this has kind of been a therapy session episode coming off that bad loss, but on the positive side, I just want to thank every one of you. The podcast is now on 2 new platforms, iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. And if you all follow me on Facebook or follow the page, you all saw those links. And you boosted iHeartRadio's following of this podcast to my 3rd overall stream. Is up. It's crazy how much listenership we gained just by putting the podcast on iHeart. You shout out to the ones that have listened on Amazon too, but not as many people have it. I don't think Amazon Music as have iHeartRadio. So just thank you all so much. The Big Z post game episode against Georgia is now my most listened to episode. And, you love to see that because just a week ago it was the Florida game post game. So every episode that comes out, getting more and more, that's a great thing. And all the credit goes to you all for making it happen. I'm extremely thankful for everyone who streams the episodes for me and enjoys the podcast. And, even on the bad games that we lose like last night, I still enjoy conversating with you all. I'm not trying to run anybody off by saying that, to be patient with this team. But, it's the truth. I get really defensive because I love this team so much and I love Kentucky basketball and Kentucky sports in general. But, it's still general conversation. I'm not going to be rude to anybody. We're going to have differing opinions, and that's all right. That's one of the best things about this is you can see other people's opinions and debate with them and talk with them. And I appreciate you all for doing that. And, if you are interested in downloading the iHeartRadio app or Amazon Music and don't know how or can't do it, you let me know. I know we have some listeners that aren't as tech savvy, and that's fine. Just, get with me, and we'll figure it out for you so you can listen on there as well. But thank you all so much. I just wanted to touch on that before I got out of here. And before we go, I'm going to give you all the platforms we are now available on so you all can go stream it and run the numbers up on them. First of all, Apple Podcasts. We're available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So thank you all. 4 big platforms. And also, real quick before I go, I almost forgot because it hasn't really generated a lot of following yet. And that's understandable because, it's not a video. It's just the podcast. But also my YouTube channel. If we can get some subscribers, I'm thinking about starting to do this podcast via video. Getting a camera, recording me, talking about it, maybe have some cool graphics, stuff like that, making YouTube videos. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can hear every episode of both of my podcasts on my YouTube channel. Just search JD Mounts into YouTube, and you will see my profile with JD's Wildcat World logo on one side and JD's NASCAR Sports Podcast on the other. That is me. Please subscribe, and you can also stream the podcast on there if you would so like to. I know everybody's on YouTube, so as long as you have a Google account, you can subscribe, and that would be very much appreciated. So thank you all. I know this, like I said, this was our therapy session for the Cats' loss on Tuesday night, and if you all are listening to this, thank you all so much. And hopefully on Saturday we are recapping a big win. If we win on Saturday, there's potential for a post-game show. The Royal Rumble is on Saturday as well, so it might be after the Royal Rumble. But WWE fans that listen, y'all know what's up. I've got a lot of them too that listen. So thank you all. And hopefully we're celebrating a win on Saturday. Continue to go, subscribe, and like, listen, share, review. And this has been JD's Wildcat World. Until next time, as always, go Cats.